The first thing that came to mind is try and change that perception that a dad will coach little kids. Instead, we bring professional coaches, we train them.
Hey there, everybody. Kelly here from Zen Planner, and I am with Kids United, Mike and Alex, and we are having a conversation today about their company, Kids United, what they do, how they started, their goals, their pain points, and how they really are harnessing software. You guys are crushing it with all double-digit facilities. I just want to jump right into it. Can you guys introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about the origins of Kids United and what inspired you to start this company?
Sure. I'm Alex. I'm the founder and the CEO of the company. Former IT person. I had a telecommunications company for many years until the day that I just got bored. And I said to myself, I cannot do this anymore. I want to do something else. I knew that I wanted to do something that is related to kids. Back in the day, I didn't know exactly that it's going to be soccer. My son grew up playing soccer, so I saw the challenges that he had as a child when you have a dad that is coaching a bunch of kids. The dad doesn't really know, doesn't really qualify to coach. Take a soccer ball and play. That's not how you build players, not soccer players, nor life players. So when I got bored and I decided that I want to pivot my career in a different direction, I knew that I wanted to be a franchisor. I don't want to be on the franchisee side. I've done it before with Orange Theory and I've had enough. And the first thing that came to mind is try and change that perception that a dad will coach little kids. Instead, we bring professional coaches, we train them, we build a curriculum, and that's how you can build a soccer player that will excel on the field, but also in life.
I love that. So you have a whole playbook for the coaches that are coming in, and rather than bringing in weekend warriors, if you will,
yes,
you have a structure set up for those kids. Okay. I like that. And how about you, Mike? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Kids United.
Sure. So I'm Mike. I'm the COO for the company. I started here about 5.5 years ago. I'll be honest with you, don't know much about soccer. That wasn't really my thing. I was a musician my whole life. I knew Alex prior to this. I came here for his grand opening and I just saw something incredible. I knew I wanted to be a part of it. I do share Alex's vision in making such a positive impact in every community, but also being able to change the lives of the next generation. I'm kind of an old soul. I don't like that we're constantly on devices and technology is so ingrained in our everyday culture. I value the experience we probably had growing up that you see today just doesn't exist. So to be able to bring that experience to kids today is why I'm here. I think it's incredibly important.
I love that. That sounds like the core mission. And I think in any successful business, if you don't have that solid core mission, that's where you get lost. So you're so right. Having 2 kids of my own, those devices, man, they really suck up all that time. Working with kids takes a unique human being for sure. Alex, you mentioned that you knew you wanted to work with kids and then you created Kids United around soccer. Was there a driving factor, a North Star besides your experience?
Yes. I would say that the biggest driving factor was it's all about soft skills, or should I say the lack of soft skills. Hard skills, reading, writing, it's relatively easy to teach and that's what they do in school, but nobody will ever teach them how to take directions from someone who is in charge, how to work in a team environment. Those are the soft skills that we are talking about, and those soft skills will help them in college, work, or whatever they do in life. There is always going to be someone that is in charge. They always will work in a group, and if they are lacking those soft skills, it's going to be much harder for them. That's one aspect, and the second one is, of course, we want to do it when they're young. The sensitive age, before the age of 7, is exactly the age where you want to instill as many skills as possible in those kids.
And through movement and fitness and soccer,
that's
correct. The perfect way to do it. Have you found, since you started in 2018 to now, are there any times that stick out where maybe it felt like there were challenges, you weren't sure if you were on the right path, and what brought you back to your daily mission and operations? I'm sure there are many challenges.
Every business has challenges, especially in the beginning when you bring something that nobody ever heard before. We would develop kids through the game of soccer. We will be working on their life skills. In the beginning, nobody understands what you're talking about. It takes time to educate the customer. That was the first challenge that we faced, customer education. Of course, the next challenge, but everybody faced this challenge, was COVID. Yeah, that's just pretty much it.
You're also educating the parents, right? Because we always hear about those crazy stories from like Little League or Pop Warner or wherever, where there's like the parents on the sideline going bananas because they're not happy.
You know, we joke a lot about this, that some of the parents we would love to put in our baby classes to teach them skills of behavior. Yes.
That has to be probably harder than maybe the 5 and 6 year olds that you're teaching those life skills to.
Absolutely. That's why I mentioned the sensitive age before the age of 7.
Yeah.
Those grown up, it's impossible to teach them anything.
So you guys started right before COVID, and I know that had to have been incredibly challenging, and the fact that you got through COVID and then continued on is the testament in itself. But let's go post-COVID, where you really ramped up. And I think, Mike, you mentioned it was like 2022 maybe, it could have been 2021, but the expansion process and the growth process, I mean, it's only been a couple years, and you guys have locations between franchise and corporate owned. So what did you do? What were those daily operations like? And then what were the challenges that you faced expanding to multiple locations, going through that franchise process? Post-COVID, what did that look like for you guys?
It was like around November 22. That's when we really started to ramp up. Exactly like Alex just explained, we're a very niche business. We started doing a lot of trade shows, the usual stuff, food, services, stuff like that, salons. Then you see Kids United, you're like, what is that? So the biggest challenge was building the message visually so that when people look, they kind of understood who we were. And once we talk to them and we explain everything, it's a different story, then we could really capture them. But it was really about piquing people's interests for something that they had never heard of. This is not something that you're just going to find anywhere. It's a very unique product. It's a very unique program. I would say in the beginning, the biggest challenge was just for people to understand like what we were doing. You walk by us, you see kids playing soccer. Oh, it's a soccer franchise. But what does that mean? Once they learn about how our indoor facility is what differentiates us from any other soccer business out there, and that we thought of everything, and we have a standardized curriculum, and we have 7 different programs, and all these points. Once that message is communicated, people start going, oh wow, this is really something. And I think overall, most people see the value that we bring, and they understand that there is a need for this kind of business, right? You look at any children's education business out there, it thrives. As long as there's children, they need to be educated, they need to be helped, taught, and all of these different brands are out there. But no one is doing what we're doing. We're making learning fun. Like Alex said, we're really focusing on the soft skills, and we're teaching them how to be a successful individual in any facet of life, no matter what they do. That was probably the biggest challenge in the beginning. Once we had the first 10, then it was a little bit different. We have more of a footprint. People know who we are. They've heard of us. Now our phones are ringing. People are like, oh, hey, I know so-and-so franchised. I'm interested. We start having more conversations. Their cousin over here wants to talk to us. Now we're seeing that organic growth. Sure. But just getting that initial message out, that was probably the biggest challenge with starting the expansion.
Are you competing against the broader after-school sports type programs that are out there that offer lacrosse and t-ball and all the things? Is there anybody else like you?
From what we understand, no, there's really nobody else like us. If you want to learn how to play lacrosse, you go to a lacrosse place. If you want to learn how to play basketball, go to a basketball place. Here, it's more about that early development aspect. And because of our age range, we start at 1.5. So we're capturing 1.5 to 3.5 demographic, which nobody else is doing. The only other program you could do is swimming in that age, but that's not a teamwork group atmosphere. That is a survival tactic. It's a complete game changer. Again, not to really focus on COVID, but these kids were born during that time. These kids need this. There's an absolute need for Kids United. And we saw that coming out of the pandemic. People just started signing up like crazy because this is what they lack. They need those soft skills. They need the social component, the teamwork, perseverance, how to set goals, achieve them. For the baby programs, they're learning motor development, cognitive abilities. You can't play soccer if you don't know right and left. A 1.5-year-old has no concept of that, but we're teaching them that from a very young age. This way, by the time that they should be understanding that, they're ready. It's very unique in that nature.
You're doing huge things for families and for kids. And I want to talk about how you manage operations a little bit. I know that you've been on Zen Planner or been using Zen Planner Studio software really from the beginning. And it's interesting. I was having a conversation with colleagues, and we really don't talk about customers having multiple platforms. You guys are obviously running 22 platforms and growing. So take me back to the beginning and what you needed to help you guys scale, and then how you found Zen Planner and came to use that.
So we've been using Zen Planner since the beginning. It was really the best solution for what we were looking for in terms of, a CRM. It's membership based. You put the memberships on the children using Zen Planner. It's a scheduler. It's our payment processor. There's limitless reports. So for top level managers and us, it was just very easy to keep an eye on everything. And it just made the whole process of everything very seamless.
The latest additions of the headquarters database and pushing down the reports, pushing down the memberships, pushing down the templates, that helped a lot.
It was huge, especially as we grow and we start updating. I just have to update a report on headquarters. It goes to everybody. I don't have to call 22 different people and tell them, all right, I need you to add a new report or give them a new report link or something like that. Of course, you guys evolved, and it's been helping us as our evolution continues.
I love that. You brought up reporting, and we talked about that in our first conversation that we had, how robust the reporting is inside of Zen Planner. How do you use that for your decision making? You look at our reports a dozen times a day. What kind of reports help you make your decisions in your company?
Sure. So, we want to make sure our conversion rates are very high from what we call intros. Those are the free trials. To sales, we want to see how many leads are coming in monthly, pulling reports on where the leads are coming from. Is it Facebook, Instagram, Google? This way we kind of know where to move the marketing budget. If we see 90% in Facebook and 10% in Google, we're going to spend money on Facebook. So it really allows us to have that versatility and to really see that big picture so we know what works. If we take a look at the reports of how many intros we schedule for the month, let's say it's 100, and then we look at the sales report and it's 90, we're at 90%, great, awesome. If we see it's at 50, no good, let's assess, let's see what's going on. Maybe we got to take a look at the coaching, maybe we got to take a look at what's going on with the sales process, and it allows us to be very surgical with the business and see which direction to take it. So it's very useful to us. Alex and I love data. Love looking at reports. It's fun to us. We love analyzing that for good or for bad. It's a good way for us to track metrics and to really see the performance of everything, especially with franchisees.
I was going to just ask that.
The corporate clubs, we are overseeing them. Franchisees is different. So we need to have access to that so we can track their performance and see what's working. We have weekly calls with every franchisee. We'll compile our homework throughout the week, especially when they first open. I'm not talking about like we're their boss and oh, you're not doing well.
Sure.
What could we help you? What challenges are you facing? Why is your conversion here? Why isn't it here? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are their conversations? And also, just because we're national now, every area is different.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of know how to move things with respect to the area's environment, whether it be financial or scheduling wise. Is this a affluent area where a lot of stay-at-homes? Is this a commuter town, so nobody's home during the days? This is going to be more weekends and evenings. It just gives us a better picture of how to handle and help the franchisees.
Do you find that your franchisees are able to get a hold of the Zen Planner software?
Yeah, Zen Planner is not the problem. They know how to do it. The problem is that they don't do it.
Well said.
There you go. And that's where you come in and your expertise, right?
Right. Sometimes you got to tell somebody 30 times for them to get it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But
I hear you. Oh, that's so funny. So I'm curious, looking forward, the future of Kids United, where do you see yourselves in the next couple of years? And I always want to know about business goals and what you guys see for yourselves.
Yeah, next 2 years, we see ourselves reaching probably the 200 mark. That's the goal. Like to see that snowball effect now. Like I said, we're getting that organic interest, people reaching out. What we see now is once one opens around there, people are like, oh, wow, I want one. This town's good. And we just see that it's just going to start to snowball and move very quickly.
That's incredible in the 200s. I'm so curious what that onboarding process is like for the franchises. And you mentioned Orange Theory and other franchise models. It can be a difficult process. So you guys seem to have figured out the key there to make it easy.
We make it easy. We're there to guide them. Alex and I personally, we have a personal dedication to providing the most extensive support that you can get. We both come from the franchisee aspect of things. We know what it's like. You reach out, hey, I need some help. And they're like, yeah, I'm off right now. I'll call you tomorrow. Never hear from them. That's not us. We've kind of built the model to really help them. And also the beauty about Kids United is the simplicity. We're not building a restaurant. The build outs aren't crazy expensive. It's a pretty seamless process onboarding the franchisees. There's multiple phases of training, but we don't leave any stone unturned, and we really make sure that they understand everything. And again, we're there even after they open. It's not like open the doors, all right, take it easy guys. Hear us on the second when we want to collect our royalty. That's not how we are. We have weekly calls with them even after they're open, and it can go on as long as they need it to. We are here for the franchisees. That's the name of the game.
I love that. And we are here for you guys. Okay, so what advice would you give to other businesses, small gym type facility? What kind of advice would you give if they're considering member management, Zen Planner or otherwise, as far as managing their daily operations?
Build your model and stick to it. Of course, you'll have these little changes here and there. You're going to always have evolution. Obviously, you have to change and roll with the tides as they come in, but you want to build a solid foundation in that process. And once you have that, there's no room for any error. You're just going to be a driving force.
Don't be afraid of the reports in Zen Planner. Just figure it out, build them. It will give you the right metrics that you're looking for about your business. Otherwise, you're kind of blind.
Yeah, if you don't know what's happening in your business, to just crumble. I mean, you got pulling those reports. It's so important, and I love that you guys are doing that and taking advantage of that feature. Yeah. Okay, so what is your website? How can people find you? Headquarters.
Website's kidsunited.com. You can find all the information that you need there, whether you're a parent or interested in franchising. We update it regularly as we have new openings coming soon, ones that just opened. If you're interested, just put your zip code in the locator and we'll find the closest one to you.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Kelly.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Take it easy.